You know the type of guy that was a jock in high school but ended up becoming a huge nerd? You know, someone that's not afraid to make a fool of themselves on the internet. And someone that likes to shoot Polaroid a little too much. Did I say huge nerd? You know, just an ordinary, everyday guy. Well, that's me. I'm just another Chris. Hey, what's up? I'm laughing because I just saw Rico's last message. I'll get a Batman for you next show. I promise you. I know I have one around here somewhere. But anyway, welcome into today's show. We have, oh my gosh, a special guest in the house. It's going to be a super, super fun show. I can't wait. But let's say hello to a few people. We've got, oh man, I got some good people up in here. We got Jesse. Hello. We got Not Another VFX channel. I need to check that out because it's not another one. You know what I'm saying? Not Alone. Hello. How's it going? We got Rico. What's up, my buddy? Who else is up in here? Did I forget somebody? Scrolling through. Oh, that's it. Okay, cool. Yeah, there will be, I promise, another one. A Batman, I mean. But welcome into today's stream. We have got a special guest in the house. He should be here. He should be here. He's muted at the moment, but we got Dave Knop from Knoptops YouTube channel. He's such a cool guy. I've been following him for, gosh, I'm truly trying to remember how long it's been. It's been a very long time, probably 10 years or so. He's been around for a while. He posted a video recently about instant photography, which isn't a normal thing for him. So I was super excited to see that he had done this. And you guys know I like instant photography. He had watched another fellow YouTuber, Sweet Lou Photography, I think his name is channel. And on this like phone scanner, this is the one. I bought it because I saw his video. But you put your phone on here, and you can like take pictures of like instant photography off your phone using Instax mini film, and which is pretty cool. And there's no batteries. But he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna turn this into a macro camera." And so we're gonna bring him on to talk about this, show off some stuff that he's done with it, and some stuff that I've done with it because I've already, tested this out. So, Dave, I'm muting you. He's in the house, so welcome to the show.
All right. I was just getting ready to send a little post out to just let everyone know.
Oh, okay. Well, you can do that. I can continue to ramble.
Know. But how's it going? If you notice, I have a little bit of a different setup here, but I think we got everything ready to go here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, man. Dude, thanks for coming on. It's a big deal. Big deal. So, while I fixed my stupid headphones, they were working earlier, and now they're not, like, working properly. There we go. So, Dave. So, first of all, do you go by Dave or David?
Dave's fine.
Okay, cool. Because most people that are David that I know go by Dave. There's only a couple I've ever met that go by David. So I took a shot. It was like, is it Dave?
I'm a Dave. That's me. I'm a Dave.
Right on. So, talk me through this. When you saw Lou's video, what was going through your head a little bit? Because I would never have thought to do this with this thing.
Yeah, and I think what it was is that, when it's set up, and I'll just open it up here, live demonstration, that was the main thing. Seeing that the fact that was, everything about it looks like a camera. You see here, the only thing difference is you just don't have that adjustment for how far away you can see. And so when I saw that was locked in at that few inches, my little crank my gears started turning, and I was like, okay, this could be something. And it was a price point, for $35. I was like, you know what, worst case scenario, I'll have a copier for my Instax camera, or to make copies onto Instax. So it was a win-win, because if it didn't work the way I wanted, I was like, well, I'm still going to use it for what it was designed for anyways. So, yeah, so that was the main thing. And I don't really dabble too much with instant photography. So just jumping into this, I think this is a couple years old, right? The what do we call it? The KiiPix?
Yeah, that's
what we're calling it.
I was going to let you say that because I cannot pronounce it. It's spelled, maybe let the viewers check it out. So it's spelled like KiiPix. Yeah, so it's no batteries required, like you were saying, and I've never seen it before. So I follow Lou, actually. I watch his videos. I never saw this video. I guess I didn't dig back. deep enough. But when I saw yours about it, I was like, dude, this is brilliant. I can't believe I didn't think of that. It's amazing.
It turned out pretty cool. And like the reason I think this is something that I get excited about, and I think like just to look back through the randomness of my YouTube channel, it's always obviously fun to show like cool things, but for me it's more fun to show stuff that people could try themselves, because I mean, just I don't know, I have limited resources of creativity, so I think there's so many creative people out there. So if I spend all the hours of time trying to figure stuff out or search stuff out on the internet to get it to, you know, find these things where you could use it for something other than just copying photos, you can actually take photos with it, then I feel like take that information, share it on a video, and I get super excited, because then I can't wait for people to start using it, or at least a few, you know, whoever ends up getting one of these, even if they figure out a different way, maybe there's other cameras and other Instax instant film or Polaroid stuff that they could do to just, you know, get creative with. And I know even between talking to you about setting this up to come on your show, I took a couple pictures, so I was able to get a couple more, and I'll send those stills over to you right now so you can have them ready. But I was kind of excited because even still, now that I know that you picked one up, now I'm more inspired to even try more things, because then it sort of is like an open source thing at this point, right?
Yeah. No, and yeah, no, it was like I didn't even finish watching your video. I went and just bought it immediately because I already had 1,000 ideas like to use it with. So I was like, boom, you got my affiliate. And if you guys want to actually grab them for yourself, there is a link in the description to grab it. And there's also links in the description to go follow Dave on his stuff, because he got some cool things. Before we go back into this a little bit, why don't you just briefly kind of talk about what you typically do on your YouTube channel?
All right. Knoptop YouTube channel, go make something. There's my little pin there. I wish this camera focused. It doesn't focus. Anyways, basically though, it obviously started out as just a fun way I was hacking. It was funny to think back to. It was the the little flip cameras, and I was doing some video tricks with that. And I've always loved filmmaking tricks specifically. So I was like, well, this is just this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make YouTube videos about filmmaking. And as I guess the landscape changed and filmmaking became this really broad thing as YouTube became more and more popular, I just didn't totally adapt to it quickly, but I still love the idea of making short films and videos. And so that's mostly the majority of the stuff on my series of videos on YouTube. But of course, if you look through it, most of it is just help. I like helping people. And so if there's something I can help them be creative, awesome. If there's software issues, then I'll try to just, at least I feel like it's somehow redeeming the time I've wasted learning this the hard way. But so it's all kind of revolving around this media creation, but obviously photography and capturing images has always been that consistent thing throughout the whole thing. Yeah,
no, I mean, I think I found your channel back in the day. I mean, actually, good thing you brought that up, because I got a question about that, but I've been meaning to ask you about it for a while. But I think I found your channel back in the day when I was just getting into filmmaking, and I wanted a camera cage of some kind, and I couldn't afford it. I was like 19 or so. I couldn't afford it, so I want to make something on my own. And I think I found some of your PVC builds. And
awesome!
It was like one of the I think they're called the Scorpion. So it was like something like that, like handle grips and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So I think that's when I found you back. 2009 maybe 2010.
Yeah, that's so cool. And it's funny to think, and this is where I know this, even though I know this, I don't really know it. I don't think about it a lot, but you think about, you see one video and then life happens between the next video, and like all the while, I mean, it's been years, but I'm still always searching the internet for just miscellaneous PVC builds and rigs, just hoping that maybe somebody will come up with something. Because even though it is a new era with all this, I mean, it's really cool in some ways. There's such cheap filmmaking equipment available now that it does let people that have a hard time getting a hold of the tools, because that was always the issue when I was moving around. It is hard if you have to like cut a bunch of PVC pipe or spray paint something. If you live in an apartment or you live in a situation where you can't really do that, it makes it very difficult. And so it sort of takes out the oomph out of the creativity. But if you can cancel that out, obviously, with just buying something a little bit cheaper that might not be a homemade thing, then you can go make your movie. So yeah, all that to say though, the PVC stuff's still dear to my heart.
The reason, yeah, because the reason I bring it up is because you utilize your like what you're known for, quote unquote, within this build. You made it like a hand crank out of PVC, you know, for this the KiiPix, whatever it's called.
It's the KiiPix. That's what we're going with.
Right. And also, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free, leave them below. We will get to them as we go along. We do have a couple questions. One of them is, what's the approximate shutter speed of the KiiPix? That's a great question. And I would assume, maybe you have a different perspective, but my perspective is it's probably pretty like fast, because it has a you're supposed to scan or take a picture of your phone screen, so the phone's gonna be pretty bright. So I would assume it's pretty fast. What's your take on that?
I think there probably is some scientific way, but you could probably measure the luminance of a typical screen, and you could probably figure out how that I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it is fast.
Yeah.
I guess some of the pictures maybe we could use deductive reasoning, because between all the pictures you've taken and the ones I've had, maybe we could figure out why some are darker than others, even though I guess I didn't document how bright I had it.
I was going to show the setup that I did when taking pictures, which was, if I get my stupid headphone out of the way, and Not Another VFX channel says PVC builds are iconic. They are. They're like the staple of filmmaking YouTube channels. But the setup that I use to take some of these photos, and I'll show some of mine, then we can show some of yours. I rolled some of your footage already from your video, and you guys go check it out. There's a link in the description if you want to check out his full video. It's really good. I think it was very well done. It's a little bit different than you normally do. I like it. It was great.
On my video?
Yeah. Was
it different as in I actually uploaded something?
That too, because you did take a break for a while. So the setup that I took, here's a couple photos to give you an idea of what we're looking at here. So here's one of my I took a Iron Giant. His eyes are light up on this action figure, and so I took that. This one was actually a double exposure by accident. I messed up, but actually I'm not even like complaining.
Oh, very cool.
This one I took just a little bit before we went live. Yeah, so here's a couple. Like some of these they came out kind of dark. And the other ones, when you nail focus on this thing, meaning when you get the right distance, like you can see the dust on that guy.
Yeah, that is one of the things, and that's where something I think about when you're shooting this macro and you hit it perfectly. It's so rewarding. It's just like, yes, because there's so many variables for it to go completely wrong.
Right? No, absolutely. So anyway, so there's just random photos there. The way I was doing it was I was utilizing this. This was actually sent to me a long time ago on another YouTube channel. I freaking love this. If you guys want one, I'll post some links maybe after the stream. But this is a pocket LED RGB light. I was just turning it on and kind of like holding it off to the sides like this, or like on the top of it to light up the subjects that were in frame. That's what I was doing. I don't know about you, but that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if I shared a picture with you of it. I don't think I did. Basically, I have a video that I did, the Falcon Eyes light, and it's a big tilting light, and I had it just, I mean, it would almost be like I'm taking product photos. It was just over my head, and I would just bring it down a little closer, and it just gave it like a halo, just like that overview, very soft lighting. And I was basically, I should have thought of this earlier on, but I started using my phone to see how much it had to contrast down to try to help me figure out if it might be too dark or too bright. And some of the pictures that I shared with you just now are actually more the recent ones I just took today, and I wanted to show the first set there with the little ring light, which is something you and I talked about. But up until then, though, I just had a large light that I just kind of basically, and even like this, so this photo of the ring light, that's a small little phone ring light. I lit everything like that, so it has this overview of light, and so there's pretty dark shadows, but that's where I was more experimenting. I was more focused on trying to get focused.
Right.
But that's me removing the little clip on that little thing. And so this photo here does show the basic setup obviously my camera wouldn't have maybe cast that much of a shadow, but that was pretty much it. I would just bring a light in, and if it looked pretty good to my eye, I would snap a photo of it real quick.
Yeah.
And the results of that are in the following photos that I show you. You can see the before and after, and you can kind of take a look at how that was. So yeah, this was just an idea you and I came up with after talking. So there's the ring light, and it just snaps onto a little phone, and it has this one specifically has 3 little power adjustments, so you can click it 3 times for brightness. This is the second brightness.
I'll see you later. Just on the VFX channel. Yes, this will be.
Oh yeah, thanks for joining in.
Yeah, the video will be up for replay afterwards, so you can watch it. But yeah, no, wow, that was really good.
And then that's what it looked like with the original lighting. So this is actually a really cool comparison. So
yeah,
it has it has qualities that are good and bad. Like maybe
I like this, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think that looks really cool. Dramatic.
And some of that is I didn't get to scan that in, so that has a little bit more. The light part of that dark area is actually a reflection, but the actual photo is really cool to look at. But you can see though, even if this was, because I'm looking inside the DeLorean, the little Playmobil DeLorean, there's a lot of shadows cast, you can see in this image. So to see it with the little ring light, it's kind of neat that this little portable ring light could be used for actual macro image, like if it was a bug or something like this.
Yeah.
But it has a greenish hue. It seems like to me, but
a little bit. But it's not that bad. Like, I think it looks cool. I think honestly both of them are really neat. But something about this one, I like this how dark it is. It's like super moody.
And that's something I know you and I have talked a lot about this. But like for instant photography, it is one of those things, specifically because of the gloss of the film. Like if I hold a picture up, here's the picture of the live stream thing. We can do a really good job at scanning it in, but there's just something about seeing it in real life where you can, the contrast of your eye, you can work the photo around to catch the best view depending on how good your eyesight is. But the physical view of one of these photos, I think, it can never really be the same as on video, because video, I don't know, I guess was it ever meant to be that full screen, right? It's actually more in focus.
Yeah.
But because there is that thing to think about when you think about like these Instax minis are so small that the eye can only manage so much detail. So it really does kind of compress all of the coolness. So long story short, I think it looks cooler because it is on a little tiny photo where when you blow it up, it gives it a little different vibe, but it's easier to see.
No, I agree. And it's funny because I did a video. When was this? Oh, it was my first video back from like a very short hiatus, and I was diving into instant photography pretty much straight. I did the video on the Lomo Instant Square, and it has a removable back so you can put in the mini film. And in that video, I say I'm done with mini film. Like I'm done with it. I don't like the size. I just don't like the experience that much. It's okay. It's fun. I mean, I like to give this to my nephew. He's 6 and he goes around and shoots photos and he loves it. That's the only reason like I even still have this camera. But I'm done with it. But then you had to come along and make this video, and now I'm like, oh man, I had to go buy a couple more packs of mini film. I've just been shooting it. I'm like, oh, I got a problem. But it's so much fun.
And that's what's kind of cool, because it does work like that, because then even after hearing you got one and took a bunch of those pictures and you shared some with me already, and seeing the other ones too, I went out and bought more film, because didn't really write it off, but I'm like, all right, I went through 2 boxes, which is like 40 films things. I'm like, all right, I need to take a break. But I was like, I'm going to take more now that I know there's some new experiments I can try, which one of them was I tried to do, and maybe we'll, I guess, keep it all in one area of all the different tricks that we were trying. But I tried to do a selfie. I saw the problems you ran into. It does not let you take a picture when it's shut.
Yeah. So I tried that we talked about, and this was my experience. The idea was, the idea I had was, what if you take a picture with it closed? It's closer to the film. Would it be a little wider? Would it be more? What would happen basically? But you can't take a picture with it shut. It locks the shutter. But there's some easy hacks to fix that. But what I had done was took a shot with it like half closed, and this is what I got. So there's something there. There's promise. There's because it has a selfie mirror, but it's not really a selfie mirror. It's, I'm assuming, so you can line up your phone over the top of it and you can like look at the reflection. I'm assuming. I've actually not used this for what it's supposed to be for yet.
I tried to use that. I tried to use it with that little mirror, and it's impossible to see. So I guess they tried, but it actually, I feel like it does work better flipping the phone over and using it. But I sent you a picture over showing, so when I try to do my selfie, I have a picture of it. I think it's kind of dark. It's a picture of my face, and it's kind of dark.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, there's that one. So I tried it, basically the same thing, but it actually, right when I went to take it, it actually had popped open almost completely. My finger slipped on it, so I don't know if it snapped before. But I sent you another picture showing how I actually tried to take out the little guard that blocks you from shuttering. And I found that when you angle it first, it'll come right off. But there's actually another mechanism inside there even that also blocks it. That is one step, and then there's a second step when it's closed. It doesn't allow that mechanism to move. I think because it is a spring-loaded mechanism. So if anyone wants to mess around with it, that's the thing. You'll just want to, because it's very fragile, I noticed. If you tilt it really severe like that, you'll just see that it comes right off the latch. And anyone that has one of these will understand what that thing is once they see it in real life.
Tokyo says, stop lying. I don't know what that means. Not sure what that means. So please elaborate.
Might be a little delay on something we said.
It's usually what it is. Like, there's a delay. We said something, and then there's like probably a short delay. So this idea that you had gave me an idea, because everyone knows I love Polaroid. I tend to lean more towards Polaroid, and I haven't done a video on it, but I have the Polaroid Lab, which is essentially the same exact thing as the KiiPix or whatever, right? It pops up, it opens, and it has a camera on the inside. You put your phone on the top of it, and you take a picture. I was like, this has to work exactly the same way, but you have to use your phone to like set it all up. But I was like, wait a minute, you only use the phone as the way for it to like to take a picture, but you still manually have to push a button on the thing. You only set it up on your phone and then you put it on. So I was like, how can you do this? If you push the button, nothing happens. So there's like sensors up on the top of it to line your phone up to take the photo. But if you cover your fingers over the top of the these two little, like, they're like rubber balls, I guess they're only at like pressure points, because I pushed my fingers down on those and I actually took a photo, and that's what I got. It worked.
Yes.
I didn't come out great. My fingers are in the shot. I have no idea how that happened, but that is what I got. I did that earlier today. Teased it on Instagram. So here's the result of that.
And the funny thing is, if I knew that was possible, I probably would have bought that instead. Just because I wanted to have larger photos of the macro. And so when I saw, and that was the main thing, and that's something I know, it sounds like we're trying to sell this like a QVC show or something.
I know.
But with the KiiPix, zero batteries involved. And I know that's always my hesitation when I see something. It's like, just download the app. And I'm just thinking like future proofing it, where I'm like, oh, that means I need a phone that's going to have the app on it, and I'm not going to update the iOS on it. And it just stresses me out, knowing that the KiiPix, you just set a phone on it and it works. You can set any phone on it. It just works.
Yeah.
But
but the other thing is, going back to what you kind of said, like, if you knew about this was $120 though. $130. So, there's a big difference there.
That's this much money in mini stacks, right? No, maybe more.
No, not quite. There's pros and cons to everything, obviously. I like Polaroid a lot, but they're way more expensive just in general. I'm hoping that these guys end up making the same version of this, but uses the square format, or even the Instax wide. Because that'd be cool. Because I like that stuff a lot better.
And hopefully, and I know I'm still pretty new to the world of 3D printing, but I know there's so many people out there.
Is it balls?
But like with the 3D people that are designers and stuff, like the mechanism is pretty simple. Other than that shutter on the front, which you could probably pull from any camera, right? Someone could probably create a 3D printed thing like this that could be used for any format film. But maybe it's easier. It's harder than I think, probably.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm talking with a guy on Friday, actually. He makes custom cameras, and he's working on some Kickstarter project, and he wants me to like shoot a video for him, so I'm going to talk to him. But I know he does instant photos, too, so I'm wondering if maybe he could work something out like that. Build a custom instant camera.
And either way, though, the cool thing is, and that's where I know I get anxious because I'm like, oh man, how long has this been out in the market? Are they going to stop producing it? And I'm like hoping, outside of just it'd be cool to get a lot of people to see this. It would be cool because if more people got involved. I mean, I'm thinking I bought one, and I've already purchased 4 boxes of film within a week of owning it. So it definitely would be good for the photography world. You know, more people that get involved, the more companies have a purpose to invest in this type of stuff. So it's I mean, I think Instax Mini does do pretty well anyways, just with the younger audience, because every time I'm at Walmart, they're always pretty much empty. So people buy them up, whoever's buying them. So maybe we don't have a problem there, but I think it's super cool. Now, not realizing you just now told me how much that Polaroid thing costs. So that definitely is a little too pricey for me for just some macro stuff. But something I was thinking about, I guess maybe, I don't know, depending on if I'd like to, I guess if there's any major questions coming in, but as far as tricks, what do we got here?
Yeah, Brian says that I would dig if they made an Instax Square version. I'm a huge fan of the squares. Yeah, me too.
And it's just a little bit easier on the eyes. But what got me thinking about this, though, because of how it works, you know, with the way that folds open, and you kind of used it. If you had a well-lit area, you could almost set up, like, you could grid it across a picture and purposely get a perfectly proportioned, you know how you have grids on Instagram? You could actually do that, but even purposely plan for like angles, and they would line up perfectly to make a one solid image. So you could actually get some pretty creative art just moving that box across and actually marking it, snapping the photos, and that there's a lot of possibilities for artistic stuff.
So to demonstrate what he's saying is like this, light it in a way, have something underneath of it, and then just take a photo, then move it, take a photo, move it, take a photo, and then you have like a collage of like and it's funny you mentioned that, because I started taking these at different like formats, I guess, like upside down in different ways, because I thought about doing like a collage of like the toys from my set that I've got, like lay them out like this or something, and just make and like make a poster, and they're all like different, you know, like shapes, colors, sizes, and stuff. So what you just said would actually be cool too. I think that'd look of someone's face or something. I don't know, that'd be actually really difficult. But something
that's what would be fun, because it, like, now the thing is, you'd have to remember to roll out the film every time, but if you even did that on someone's face, you just went snap, 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 snap.
Yeah, chat is delayed. There's a depends. YouTube, it can be anywhere from 15 seconds to 45-second delay. Did I say Facebook or YouTube? YouTube is that. Facebook can be much less. I used to stream just solely on Facebook. One, because of the delay was not as bad, but yeah, there's a delay here, unfortunately. Not Alone says make a flipbook with the photos. That'd be pretty cool. That would be. It
would add up quick. Hey, Not Alone, really good to see you. Yeah, man. I like, you think about how much does this cost? So let's see. I don't even know how many I'm holding here, but like, I mean, the texture of it would hold up pretty well, because it has that nice grip side, you know, on the handle part. I call it the handle part. And they're solid enough that
it could work.
Man. How about this? Make a flip book and then just photograph it with the camera page by page. It'd probably be the easiest to do for sure, right?
Right.
Then you'd have a solid. That actually feels pretty good for a flipbook. I was curious. It was more of a technical issue, and it might just be the film. Let me see if this even matters or if it shows up on film. I was getting, I guess you can't really see it. I'll do that classic hand behind the picture.
Classic.
You see that there's that little dot at the top of that, on that chicken wing photo?
Yeah.
It actually punctured my frame of that, and it did this on a few photos, and I don't know if it's just the mechanism or way the film just has anomalies where it gets loaded weird. But once that gets punctured...
I see that on mine too. I would...
Okay, yeah, it happens on a few of them, and the ink will leak out.
So on the top of here, there's like a sponge, if you will. It catches the extra developer at the top, and it keeps the photo from falling out once it's ejected, so you can grab it. But I had one jam earlier today. It didn't come out, but it didn't really jam. It just it wouldn't eject right. So I had to like go into a dark bag, take it apart, and then put it into this camera to retake the photo so it would develop, you know. But on the inside, I noticed that the pick arm to advance the picture is a pretty, of all the things, super sturdy metal. It's pretty rigid, and so I think if it doesn't quite line up perfectly, it's just gonna jabs into the picture.
So I was curious because if you did get in there, do you think, is this something that eventually would need like what normal cameras need, where the rollers would need cleaned?
So the weird thing is, Polaroid is the only company that advertises to clean your rollers. Fuji's, they don't. And even then, with Polaroid stuff, I've never had problems with not cleaning my rollers unless which has happened once recently. I've had a failed developer pod. It just, as it was coming out, it exploded. And so I had to completely clean my camera, and it was a nightmare to clean the rollers out. And it was a modern camera. Vintage ones aren't so bad, but modern cameras are really hard to clean the rollers. But I don't. It's just one of those things where you don't know. It's kind of it's like an urban legend almost. It's worth noting because if you actually have what would be debris of any kind, then you can see it in your photo, like on a Polaroid picture. There'll be these perfectly spaced dots across your photo from where this piece of debris pushed up against the film as it rolled through.
And that's something I'm looking down at this because this, when you have it folded, it's really nice. Of all the things it has, it doesn't have a guard that protects that roller section. And so I was thinking what I'll probably do is just put some gaffer tape right over that when I pack it for long-term trips and stuff, where I'm traveling a little bit. And I usually, even with my camera stuff, anything that has slots or flaps, I usually try to store it like that so that this other side's completely bare. So that's just one little thing. But yeah, it has all these really cool little mechanisms, like the way that thing comes up, but it doesn't have a block to protect that.
So Brian, to recap what this stream is about, is Dave here has found a cool hack with this product. The way this product works is it has this little bridge. And you take your phone, you put it on the top of it with a picture. It's kind of like the Polaroid Lab, and you take a picture of your phone screen, and you can then manually crank it out. There's no batteries required, which is neat. But Dave here has found a really, really cool hack to where you can use it as a macro photography camera. And so that's what we're talking about today. And if you want to watch his video on it, there's a link in the description. And you can get some really, really neat results from this, as you can see here. Super, super cool.
And there's also a lot of really difficult challenges with it too, because obviously you see how large that square box, that billow thing, I guess, I don't know what you'd call the front of the camera on the other end of that. Yeah. But I know, Chris, you and I were talking where there's a silicone billow in there. So if everything was completely disassembled, the film would still be protected and then it would become a little bit of a tilt shift lens at that point, a macro tilt shift, which would be kind of even more insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. So, Brian says you really had to clean the rollers with the pack film more than integral film in my experiences. So you know what pack film is, Dave? By chance, though?
No, I just like to smile and go, oh yeah.
So pack film is where you would pull the picture out manually and then you would peel the film. You remember that stuff?
Okay.
I've only just now got to start finally shooting it. It's all gone. It's not being made at all anymore. So it's all expired film, and it's really expensive, but it still works. And so that's what he's talking about. 57 Stratman says, keep your rollers clean. My SX70 Sonar gets filthy after 2 film packs. Hey, I don't know. I don't have that problem. And I use one. I have one right here. Let's check my rollers. Let's see how dirty they are. Looks pretty clean to me.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's really a combination of the way you store it and how you travel with it, because I know that's always something I look at, because over time you just end up accumulating stuff. Yeah, hey Sasha.
Sasha said Dave has the hacks. He does have the hacks.
Got the hack.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys, if you have any questions too, feel free to ask us in the chat. And yeah, definitely go make. Hey, where's my button? You said you were going to send me a button.
Oh yeah. So far, this is the only one I can find, and it's magnetic. I took the needle off and just put a little magnet on it. That's the thing. You and I were talking, yeah, because with the stickers and the buttons, I don't really wear I don't know what you'd wear, a vest, I guess. I don't know what people put buttons on. Hats, I guess, maybe. Backpacks,
camera bags, maybe. I have one on my camera bag. It's over there.
And I know, like, one of the reasons, like, with the Instax photos, the minis, it's that love-hate thing where it's like, yeah, I don't totally love how small everything is, but what's really cool, and this is where it does actually, it's pretty neat that I knew that I was thinking of you when I was taking pictures of your stickers, but I was thinking, this camera should just be marketed as a perfect camera for taking pictures of toys, because inevitably, it's the easiest. Like, you put the thing up and you can get really shallow depth of field, and it's like, I mean, really pop, like your pop figure there, like that looks so cool. And especially Legos. I mean, yeah, and see that, I'm really curious. Did you put that on a stand? Is that what I see there?
Yeah, I have it on a stand, yeah. I didn't think it was going to be in frame, but it was.
Oh, yeah. And
here's my failed.
Yeah, because in a way, it really does. You lose perspective of how large or how small some of these toys are when you're taking pictures like that. And I mean, obviously, this is just, yeah, it's all for fun anyway. So it's just, it's new. It's perfect for like a rainy day stuff where you can't go outside. And it's like, all right, I'm going to just snap some cool photos inside.
Oh, and here's my Jon Snow sword. Yeah, it was super fun.
But do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, I know you have a history with toys and stuff. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like a toy camera. And obviously, sometimes it's nice to have some, like a larger focal range, but sometimes it's not. You can actually, in some ways, it looks cooler when it's not in focus.
Yes, Brian. I'm a dirty boy. My dirty rollers. All right, that needs to be put on a t-shirt, you know? I think I got an idea.
I don't know if it might translate as well. I guess there's a few people out there that might know. I guess that's the idea, right? The photography people know.
Like a character like holding a camera, like a vintage camera, and then this part's opened or something, and it's like maybe in here it says I'm a dirty boy on the rollers or something. I don't know. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, but I see a couple people at Not Alone. He stops by my live streams over there on Knoptops, so it's good to see him. And Sasha, nice to see you.
Yeah. So Brian's asking, is there a way to crank out the film easy? I have an old Holga that you have to be really careful and how aggressive you do it. So you made a hand crank with PVC pipe. I kind of show it in the little clip. You'll see it here in a little bit. I wanted to make sure I included that because I thought it was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. The way I was doing it was because I have some PVC and actually a bunch of it, and I don't know what I did with it. I think it's in my garage somewhere. I gotta find it. But I'll show you what I got in a second once we see your little setup. Come on now. Wish I could fast forward it. There it is. Right. There's part of it.
There it is.
And then you use a wide shot coming up. But That's a
Yeah.
super I wish this had like a crank. I think I'd even add to the experience, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I was doing it was, oh, wrong button. Buttons. I was holding this and then just spinning the unit itself and using it as leverage, and it worked really well.
Yeah, that's creative. And you know what? I will say again, just because I wanted to double check. So even the photos I just shared with you just recently that I just took a couple minutes before the stream started,
Yeah.
I hand cranked them, and I even did the one slow just to see.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes about, I would almost say almost takes 20 minutes, almost to 30 minutes, and then the film is evenly distributed and it's completely.
Yeah.
I know the photos I shared aren't scanned in, so there is a little reflection, but the blacks are completely black. I don't even see. I mean, they're clean from what I've seen compared to just that little preview on Lou's video. So, which I almost wonder. I never followed up with him. He might have went back, and I bet if you looked at his photos, they probably aren't there anymore.
Probably.
But it is also possible to have just maybe a bad unit. That's always something too.
I don't know, because mine are pretty clear, as you can see. Like they're fine. However, this one still has the marks.
Okay.
And I
okay.
took this one earlier today. Like it's definitely been hours and hours ago. So this is the only one. All the other ones are perfectly fine. Well, I guess maybe this one.
You see a little bit there.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's really unique. So
But
it could just be a
one
combination.
is perfect.
Do you have any? I mean, like that one with your forehead.
Yeah. I was trying to get my eye, but it didn't work.
That looks like your reaction after you found out it didn't work.
Yeah, I knew it ahead of time.
So I'm trying to think. There was another photo I shared with you just recently through the text. It's not even really that big of a deal. Obviously, I talked to you. There was two little tricks that I tried. And one was I actually purposely tried to do a double exposure, which is something this camera can do. You can do multiple exposures on one roll of film. The problem is, since it's macro, you're not going to have as much flexibility, because obviously with a larger format camera or like one that sees a larger view, you could do cool silhouette overlays and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually still tried that because I thought if it's really out of focus, I'll get a really out of focus shot of my face in front of the light, and then I'll take a close-up picture of the map. And it's the picture that I shared with you that has a globe, but it looks like a major reflection, but it's not a reflection. It's actually my face, and you'll see my nose and my mouth if you look for it. But yeah, if as you see that, I'm looking to my let's see here. Actually, you were right there. So I'm actually looking to the left in the picture. So it's not just a reflection. It's actually a double exposure. I just didn't line it up very well, but it did work, which is kind of neat. I'm sure there's more specific ways to use it. In that case, I feel like it would be better to maybe experiment with images you're pulling from your phone, because then you'd have more flexibility on how far away from the camera you could be.
Yeah. So I did a double exposure by accident of this one. I took the photo apparently this way originally. And you can see Leo's head right there. And his sword.
Yeah.
And his sword's coming down. And I when I took the photo, I didn't know if I took the photo or not, because I was upside down, and the button to take, I'm sure you've experienced this, it floats around. And so when I pulled it, I didn't, did the shutter go off? I wasn't sure or not. So I was looking at it, and I accidentally flipped the camera and took the shot and got this, which I'm not even too upset about. It looks kind of cool.
Yeah, dude, and it actually looks amazing, because this is where I get excited again, because now we're getting into, this is like photoshopping, and now you have something that's 100% one of a kind. Yeah. It would probably almost, I don't want to say impossible to duplicate, but very difficult to get that same level of opacity on both images, and that is like a one of a kind. This is where the instant photography becomes art in my mind, because you could take a picture of it, but there's only one copy of it.
Yeah, and this is the stuff I'm thinking about, giving away to members on Patreon and stuff. It was some of these random one-off macro shots. Never gonna see it again, because I want to start giving you guys, the viewers, Patreon members especially, some physical stuff. So I'll announce that more later when the time comes. But how do you say that name? Toko? It's not Tokyo, but it's similar. So you have a case for my SX70S. Oh, you're talking about the 670S from the Mint? No case for that one. I'm actually selling it. It's not for me. It's just not for me. So there's nothing wrong with it. It works great. It's just not for my style of photography. So I've used it. I've used it a bunch, but right now it's just sitting on the shelf, ready for a new home. Brian says, I agree. Instant is art, like a DAG, or a tiny a tintype. What?
Yeah.
You know what he's talking about? What's a DAG?
I know tintype. I don't know the DAG. So that would be interesting. But I know that's another thing. As soon as I saw tintype, I'm like, oh man, tintype is one other form of photography. I think I just love the texture of that type of thing. But
I don't know either one of them, to be honest.
And see, that's where I'm trying to think. So yeah, even with this, actually, this is probably the unit I'll try it on. But there was another trick I thought of, and I'm not going to talk. I'll talk about it, but I'm not going to tell you what it is until I try it. But I'm excited to see how it turns out, because it starts to head towards really deep, like I would say deep art, because it's yeah, I don't know if I want to say anything, but basically it's art that's you're only going to experience for a few seconds, and then that's that. It's over. I'm not going to catch it on fire or anything, but that'd be cool probably.
Pull a Lou and start burning your photos in the toaster and stuff.
Yeah.
I know. What? Go ahead.
It was funny. I was thinking of that video that Lou did. What Chris was mentioning was Lou did a video where he put Polaroids in a toaster to try to get them to, I guess, develop faster. But I noticed that. So I had a couple pictures that had those lines on it, and it was about 20 to 20 minutes, and they were still there, and I was like, that's weird. And I noticed that I put them in my shirt pocket, a little bit warmer against me, and
yeah,
they went away, and I'm like, I wonder, because the picture itself looked like it was fully developed and done, and it's a little bit cooler in my house. I mean, I don't know, 69, 68 degrees. Is that cold? It's chilly. So I thought maybe that had something to do with it, but I put it against my pocket and it got warm, or the lines went away.
Right. Yeah, autocorrect kills me sometimes. So you're good. Don't even worry about it. James,
so what was it? Was it a dog? Is that what the word he was trying to say? What was the word that autocorrected?
No, it was the one. It was asking me about my case for my camera, and it typed so instead of do. It happens. Way worse for me typically. James is asking, have I used the Mint TL70? And that would be a no, but maybe eventually in the future. I'm trying to work up to the RF70. That's what I want mostly. So when I sell the Polaroid 6S, the SX, what's it called? SLR 670S. There we go. Well, I'm going to sell that and actually get the RF70, which is the only good camera that shoots the Instax wide film. It's like a fully manual control, glass lens and whatnot. It looks pretty cool. And there's an automatic version too, but I haven't tried the TL70. You know what TLR cameras are, right, Dave?
I think I do.
It's so it's not an SLR, it's a TLR, which is a twin lens reflex. So you've seen those, like the Rolly cameras.
Oh yeah, I think I got one. I didn't know that was called a TLR.
Yeah, so there's two lenses, but one's the viewing, one's the taking. So that's a TLR lens. Twin lens reflex. Yeah, twin lens reflex. Yeah. Was that a Brownie camera? Yeah. So
this is a Brownie Starflex.
Yeah. So there's an Instax mini camera that is a TLR camera that Mint makes, and it's really expensive for what it is. It's like $350. Yeah, that's why I'm like, nah.
It looks cool.
It does look cool.
But that's one of those things, I guess, I don't even know now. It's like, can somebody take one of these apart and then use the... Now, this one doesn't work that way because the way it ejects, you can't access the inside from the back. But I almost wonder with that macro. That's the thing. So I did experiment. I don't know if I sent you the picture of it. I thought, okay, this is a macro camera. This is talking about the KiiPix now. Macro camera I'm going to grab, I had this old ViewMaster, and I thought, okay, let's see if I can see, and I don't know, you can let me know, Chris, if I sent you that picture.
This one?
Okay. Oh, that one actually is me holding a magnifying glass up in front of the lens.
Oh.
I was experimenting because that was me changing with that. Let me send you. Okay, that's the one. So that is the picture of me looking through one of the lens of a dual ViewMaster. There's no way anyone's gonna know what that picture is. I'm trying to think. Let me send you what the actual picture is and see if anyone that's watching can guess what that is. And you can kind of zoom in just to give them a little bit of a hint, but I doubt that anyone in a million years would ever.
Is it a Funko?
Nope, and it's a ViewMaster slide of I guess it would be a movie.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And I'll send All right, I'm gonna send you the text. It's gonna come through. I don't know if it's gonna interrupt that picture or not, but it's from the 1970s, possibly not even the 1960s. Actually, it's old.
So Brian says Dagro type SP. I probably butchered that pronunciation.
Yeah, not familiar with that.
Now here's something to look up. Tell us now, Dave.
I know she probably wants to know about the idea. I was gonna tease to it. The problem is I can't even mention it without giving it away. That's how tricky it is. So it'll be neat. Maybe, I don't know if maybe we'll do a collab video, or maybe I'll just post something. I don't really do too much photography stuff. That's why it's more fun to be on live streams like with you, Chris, because you dabble in that a lot more lately. So it seems more relevant for someone like you. But
it's kind of taking over. They're guessing duck floaty with a man in it. And the pronunciation, they gave me the pronunciation of the name. It's Tokifukawa. Toki. Is that how you say it? Koi? I'm horrible with names.
I'm thinking it's Tokofukawa. Tokofukawa. Huh?
That's a cool name.
Let me know if I got that right. All right, check that. So this is the actual image. I shot it with my phone to see the same view.
Tarzan?
You have to let them figure it out. That's the image. Look at that. Tarzan showing his chimp. I forget the chimp's name. I don't know that. And then he's showing him a turtle.
Oh, I didn't even catch the turtle. I thought it was a stick.
Yeah, you have to look really close there. It is the most, and this is me. I go to the thrift store all the time, and I found this old ViewMaster slide of, it's actually hilarious. I mean, this is a whole video in itself because he's like posing with this lion. He basically kills a lion to protect his monkey friend. It's a pretty dramatic ViewMaster story.
Wow, that's a pretty intense for little kids.
But
to watch
that's the image I tried to take. The funny thing is, so if you look at that image and zoom away from it, then you go back to the Polaroid or the Instax, then you actually can see the shape of it. I don't know, you might have to go through a little bit.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, now do you see it?
Isn't a little bit. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. I don't see the monkey at all, but I see the guy.
Yeah, it didn't work. And, I was trying to, I didn't do it very scientifically, but I was trying to get the idea. Because you think about a ViewMaster, if you're familiar with these, and I don't know if I shared a picture. Obviously, most of the viewers probably know what a ViewMaster looks like. But they have like a 2-inch long viewing area. And I thought maybe that would be far enough away from the eye that it would allow for it to work. But it did not.
And you got the name right. The pronunciation.
Oh, did I? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Toku.
The chimp's name is Cheetah.
Oh,
that's okay. 57 Stratman says.
I figured Sasha might know it, but that's good. You got it. But yeah, if it even matters anymore, I just sent you a couple of images of what that ViewMaster looked like. It's a classic ViewMaster. It's one of the original earlier models where they made it out of the Bakelite.
I've had one of these when I was a kid.
Yeah, and so you can see that's the front of it, and the other image is the back, and like it has about a 2-inch viewing angle. So that's what's cool. Like the camera, we'll just call the KiiPix a camera at this point because that's what it is.
Yeah, that's a camera.
It has that ability to do that. So Tarzan, oh yeah, it has the name right there on it.
That's what I was looking at. Yeah, and Cheetah, it has the name right there. And Turtle.
The turtle.
The turtle has a name. Oh wait, Greek Koga the turtle.
That is hilarious.
That's funny. Brian says, Cheetah, the trainer of Cheetah, spent his final days in a wheelchair pushed around by Cheetah, and they both smoked a cigar and whiskey daily. Doesn't sound like too bad of a life, I guess.
So I don't know if it matters or not. I talked a little bit about it. I'll hold it up here. I'm sure there's other brands of this, and I know my contrast is a little bright for this, but what you're looking at is that it's a ring light. Let me see. Yeah, I can't really, but yeah, you can get an idea. I'll hold it back here so the contrast is a little better. So you have an area for your lens to go through, which is that little opening. Doesn't somebody have a logo that kind of looks like this? I don't know. It seems like I've seen one. But anyways, basically, I actually, for some reason in my mind, I thought this was a perfect opening circle. This is the battery compartment in this area here. But you can see how much it lights an area up close. And so because you have these different settings, my thought was, look at that. You could really that's 3 positions. Isn't that wild? Damn. So it does offer the ability, in my opinion, to do some macro photography, because I'm pretty sure those macro lenses on the actual expensive cameras have a little LED light at the end. They're taking pictures of like bugs and stuff, but that's where I'm like, something like this costs about $5. I had to remove the clip, and it's a non-destructive removal, so you just slide off the pin and the spring, and you could use this again. I don't think I'll ever use this as a ring light for my phone, though, so it doesn't matter.
I was telling you earlier because we were chatting. I have one for like 6 years now, maybe longer, and I'm constantly moving it around. It's in my way. Every time I go somewhere, it's just on the shelf. And then when you talked about that, I was like, I have one, and now I can't find it. It's somewhere around here, so I'll have to look for it. But speaking of macro photography and that kind of topic with the light, I'll talk about this again. I talked about it last stream, but we're talking about macro photography. Check this out. This is the Polaroid SLR. What's SLR something? It's just the Polaroid Macro 5 SLR. No fancy name, because this was used in the medical field for like dental work and stuff. And shout out to Cameron if you're watching. I don't know if you're watching or not, but Cameron has graciously contacted me through Instagram. It was like, I have some Spectra film. I'm sending you some film to fully test this to its fullest capabilities. And Spectra film isn't being made anymore for a couple of years now. And so I don't have another Spectra camera to fully test this. So he's sending me some over. It should be here soon. So shout out to you. Thank you. I can't wait to try it. Spoiler alert, I did try. Failed. I wasted two packs of film trying to get this to work. In Polaroid world, that's like $40. I got 3 pictures to work because I have to. It's not meant to be used the way I was trying to make it work. You can take Polaroid film and like regular pictures, and then put it into the cartridge of a Spectra camera, and then a Spectra cartridge, and then put it in and still shoot it. But it's a massive headache and massive challenge to get it in there to work. So I'm really excited to actually just be able to stick a pack in and shoot it normally. And it's pretty cool. I think I have some. Do I have some of the... Well, here's some of the fails. Here's fails. That was almost a successful one. Fail. And then there's another fail. Where do I have them over here, maybe? Ah, yes, here we go. Check this out. So I got a couple successful ones with it.
Oh, okay. Wait, that was with that camera?
Yeah, this is with the Polaroid camera, the macro. And it has all these lights on it. So when you're up close, it's a super fast shutter speed on this thing. So these lights are super bright. They even have their own power in the handle to power the flash.
Yeah, so that, like, if I would see that, if you handed me that photo, I would think that those are life-size statues.
This little baby Yoda is like, I don't know, an inch. It's like that big.
So that, I mean, obviously it's a much bigger camera, but you can see that one looks like it has a larger focal area. Yeah. Is that what you call it? A focal plane? Focal plane.
Yeah, focal plane. Well, the thing is, it depends on...
in costume.
Yeah, so that is a little... it's just an action figure with Spider-Man. He's a 6-inch tall figure. But on the top, and sorry, it's a little out of focus because I'm not set for this distance, but you choose the lens you want. So there's 5 different stages. So this one is the farthest away, I guess. And there's a little indicator, and as it get closer and closer, it shows like an eyeball. But you can get freaking close to where it's like, I don't know, like this close to the camera. It's crazy.
I feel like I remember being at the dentist when they would use something like that.
I know. I so vaguely remember this exact same thing. Yeah. And they come in with... I didn't know it was an SLR, but it kind of makes sense. But the way it works... I can't remember if there's... No, it's not in there. It has like these laser beams. Not really laser beams, but they're light bulbs that send out like this perfect dot. 2 of them. And as you move the camera forward and backwards... they get closer and farther away. So when you get close enough, it takes the 2 dots and puts them together, and you know you're in focus.
So that makes me think now, because I'm like, oh my goodness, what time is it? Okay, so I'm like, if I go to the Dollar Tree, I pick up 2 of the keychain lasers. I could stick them on this KiiPix camera at the focal range that I want, and it should technically do exactly the same thing, right? Like if I have my lasers set up and they're on these planes, let's say on the top, one's going this way. I dial it in with maybe some silly putty or whatever. Then I'll just be able to click those things on. The problem is there's no easy way to turn them on and off without probably moving them. But that same method could actually work for super. I mean, then at that point, this would be so quick and easy to use. You'd flip it on, laser it in, flip it off, and take your picture.
Yeah. No, like... that's how this camera works. It's not lasers, like, per se. It's just, like, 2 light beams. But they are, like, I can shoot it across the room, and you can still see it on the wall, like, these dots. It's just like a light bulb that's super focused. It's crazy. It's really cool technology for what it was back in the day.
I'm going to get real lasers on this, so be prepared.
Brian, we got a bunch of comments coming through here. We got Brian saying, I love the Viewmaster. My parents' wedding pictures were 3D slides. Same concept as Viewmaster. Yeah, those are cool. Did you know you can make your own back in the day? Viewmasters? There was a special camera.
No, I didn't, but
there's a special camera that you could take 2 pictures at the same time, and then you had to cut them, and then you would put them in Viewmasters, and you'd stick them in, and then you could make them in. It's pretty cool.
That's cool that Brian was saying he has the 3D slide, so those would be like the larger projected images would have that same visual look. I think he's not alone responding to that camera when you set it up on the table.
Wild. A camera, yet is. Oh, and Cameron is in the house. What's up, man? Nice. Can't wait to see how the camera works. Me too. Thank you again for sending the film. I'm very, very, very excited. If you didn't see it just a minute ago, I was showing off my attempts to make it work with regular Polaroid, and here's my fails of trying to get it to work. But I was able to succeed and get a 4 total photos to work. And since these aren't Spectra cameras or film, they don't fully roll out the pictures all the way. So that's why the tops are a little bit not exposed or properly spread the developer. But anyway.
So with everyone that's watching the stream right now, I'm actually curious if there's some comments that of other ideas of things to take macro photos of. Obviously, we've got the pop figures documented, right?
Yeah,
we got a couple basic toys, but I know I tried to do some in my video. I tried to do some Matchbox cars, and I was really hoping to get. I still haven't followed up and tried it. I wanted to try to capture some bubbles in real life for no reason other than just to say I did it.
That'd be really hard.
It's one of those things, like once you hit it, especially if you backlight it correctly, once you hit it, it would just be such a crisp globe, I guess. For no reason. I'm sure there's other stuff, though, but I'm curious if anyone decides, you guys start letting the gears turn there and see if you can come up with any cool ways that you might use a camera like this.
57 Strapman says, when the Spectra film arrives, will you be doing a video featuring that camera? I'm so intrigued and super curious about that unit. Absolutely, I will be. Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to do it regardless. I was going to do it with this. You might get 2 videos out of it. We'll see. I might combine it. But I want to showcase the how to use Polaroid film inside it, because you can still do it if you do it correctly, and I learned how not to do it. So I'll show you how to do it correctly. And then
it might be.
Go ahead.
Oh, it might be kind of gross, but I would actually like to see it used the way it was meant to be used. At least one photo of somebody's actual, like, because wasn't it for taking pictures of teeth? Is that what you're talking about?
It was for anything close up. So like probably cuts, maybe stitches, eye exams and stuff, like whatever, teeth, stuff like that. It also has a setting for you can also still take like a full headshot of somebody. So yeah, I was probably gonna take a picture of someone's eye with it for sure. That's probably the most gross I'll go. I don't know if I'll like do teeth or anything like that. I do have a friend. I do have a friend that's a dentist. I wonder if she would let me come in there and maybe take a picture of like her teeth or something.
No, I was thinking, I don't know why, when I saw the camera, I guess I'm thinking of that weird light that's above you at the dentist office. It has that same double handle thing, and my brain is remembering that. And I don't know why I correlated that camera to a dentist office. But of course, a doctor's office, it makes more sense.
Yeah, well, this one was, as far as I know, mostly used for dentistry work, for teeth.
Okay.
From my quick research, but it was for the medical field, so it was used for a lot of different things. Brian says, I would do close-ups of flowers. I do a lot of film macros or flowers. That's pretty cool. I might do one like that. You'll definitely see toy-related stuff. And I'll probably do an eye shot. I don't know what else I'll do. What are some good ideas? Maybe we can ask you guys. What are some good macro shots?
I'd like to see. Yeah, keep some more ideas. Because as he said that, I was thinking of, for some reason, of all the movies, at one point, I was around. I used to work at a movie theater, and we still had rolls of film. Mm-hmm. They always promised me I was going to be able to work in the projectors room, and that was the only reason I worked at this theater. And I never got out of concessions. They never let me go up there.
Dang,
such a scam. But in the course of it all, I was able to, someone just said, they were throwing out stuff and they're like, here, you want this? And it was a movie trailer on a roll of 35 millimeter. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm like, what is it? What movie is it? And it was The Full Monty. You remember that film? It's an old film.
Full Monty. I know the name, but I don't think I've seen it.
It has some pretty popular stars in it at the time. They were just up and coming. It's like a British comedy where they all basically decide to become male strippers to make money. And anyways, though, I'm like, of all the movies I have on a 35 millimeter roll. But anyways, thinking of that, though, the rolls of film that are positives, having that set up in front of that macro screen could be cool because you'll see all of the little the little holes in the side and everything, and you'll be able to. And so that would definitely, I might have to try that.
In Spectrafilm, I guess I should clarify. Do you know what Spectrafilm is by chance, Dave? No, oh, you're like, yeah. No. It's not. I think it's over by my desk. So Spectrafilm is the same as Polaroid film, except it's a little bit wider.
Okay.
A little bit wider. I've never shot it, and so I had to point to that, and I don't remember. But there's a little brief history of Spectrafilm. Why would I had a whole point to that? But you had said something, I think, and now I don't remember why. But there you go. That's Spectrafilm. We've got Game Dave. Macros of cosplaying ducks, clearly. I like how he's pulling that. He knew. That's so funny. I think I just saw that one at Target or a couple days ago. That very one. Yeah,
you'll see it floating around. Not literally, though, unfortunately.
Why? You can make them float.
It's something I'm actually working on.
Oh. Okay. Something for another day. Looking forward to it. Mm-hmm. A little tease. So I thought about right now actually demonstrating a full I'm going to take a photo for you guys. So I was going to take a macro shot of my 35 millimeter, maybe with the name. It's Nikkermat film camera. So I'm going to show you how that works. Why not? We talked a lot about it. What's that?
Yeah, I'm curious because I haven't noticed that. Do you flip those little fins all the way back? Or are you worried that they're...
I don't, because I've been using that as my focal point and where to focus. So
Okay. Okay.
if it's like, if I'm looking down and I can see it's crossed, like somewhere right in there, I know it's gonna be in focus somewhat or pretty close to it. It's just aligning where the lens is, because the lens itself isn't centered. So that's been a tricky part. But
All right, we're ready. Let's see this photo.
And I'm like,
you blind yourself with it first. Okay,
yes.
I like the technique.
Yes, so that way you have the dots in your eyes, so you can't see what you're doing. It makes it really more interesting. And then
this is actually good to see it live. I know there's just a few people watching, but like it is a really awkward camera to use, which is to me part of the fun, but it also really sucks.
So the problem is, I wish that this camera, the lens, was up here, because the button is on this side, and when you're taking a picture of something, I think it's easier to line it up if it was up here. But if you do it right here and line it up, the button's on the bottom, and it's a little more awkward in my opinion. So
and the lens floats around. The lens floats around on that little billow. Yeah. And that's something I try to do, because I notice after using it, sometimes it'll get stuck at a weird plane. So you have to kind of... Oh, okay, so you're doing it... Do you do it with one hand like that?
Yeah. How do you do it?
I mean, well, that's where I usually just I try to mount the light somewhere because of that struggle.
Oh, yeah, I kind of don't do that.
Okay,
I probably should.
It's going.
So I think that's actually lined up. But the problem is the button... It needs to be flipped, and it'd be the perfect height, but I can't take the picture now. Wait, unless I do this, maybe.
Yeah, you really got to work the edge of the table. And that was something I realized too. I propped everything up. Everything I took pictures of was like elevated. I put them on top of cups and stuff like this, because you just need that working area.
This is super awkward. But
the funny thing is, like, no joke, if this camera was made out of wood, if this camera was made out of wood, it would be like the closest thing to using an old-time camera that happens to just be an instant camera.
All right. Photo has been taken.
So I'm curious to see this rolling technique you got without dropping it.
Right. So this is how I've been doing it. Not for every one of them, but for most of them. I'll grab it here, and then I'll just start churning it like this. And it keeps it even as it comes out.
Yeah, that just seems like a major chance of droppage.
Oh, yeah. I've already heard a crack earlier today when I was doing it. I heard a crick. I'm like, ooh, that's probably not supposed to do that. Probably putting a lot of strain on this one
pretty
little
small
screw.
Yeah.
This
it's a small screw that's holding that crank on.
Is like, yeah, it's pretty small. But we can watch it develop live. Can't see you now, but
no, that's fine. Actually, I'm really curious now. Oh wow, it looks like it's already starting to change, guys.
Fuji stuff is really fast. It's coming through.
Okay.
Oh, I almost had it centered. It's not too bad though.
And that's always something I know whenever I was using the, I guess it's the larger form Instax film. I can't remember the name of it now. Is it Instax 100 or 600 or 200? I don't know.
Instax? What do you mean?
The Instax larger format. Is it the Instax 100?
No, there's Instax Mini, Instax Square, and Instax Wide. That's all they got.
Okay, so I think I have the Instax Wide. And every time I took a picture with it, this was a different camera, I would like try to time lapse with my phone because I was just obsessed with just watching that time lapse.
I like the idea of a circuit board and watch. That'd be pretty cool. The side.
Oh yeah, very cool. The movements.
Not alone says, "Dang, even Game Dave is here." All Daves.
Game Dave. He's gonna be streaming later tonight. But yeah, thanks for stopping in. All the Daves are here.
Yeah, look at that. We're almost got it.
And you can see, and so like even with your method, I think it's just the way the film gets pushed, like that chemical gets pushed, because you still see those.
But it's not as bad as like normally. So like on this one, you can see those. There's still a lot of them. Like this one, for this one, I just did the ratchet way, the back and forth.
Yeah,
how it was supposed to be. So I think it was a little bit too bright, but I think I got the focus decent. It's not perfect, but pretty good. It's
And those lines, did you have those lines in one other photo that you took?
I don't think so. That was only one.
Okay, 'cause
Yeah.
I'd be curious if they line up, if you end up with another photo that has lines, if it happens in the exact same spot as well, because then we'll know for sure. I mean, I guess yeah, since it's analog, so there's no way those aren't like lines from like the fluorescent light or LED or anything, is it? That's
No.
not possible, right?
No. I have it set to where there's no
I've,
glare.
I've
I
never
have
heard
a
of that.
grid on my light so where it won't cast
Oh,
glare.
okay, but I've never heard of that type of camera that you have there.
Which one? Oh, the 35.
Yeah, the
So
Nicormat. I don't know anything about that.
it's basically a Nikon camera, but it's Nicker matte. So it's an F mount, so it uses Nikon like glass. I don't know. I found it for $10 at a thrift store about 6 months ago, and it works just fine.
Wow,
It's like a tank.
six
Too.
months ago.
It's a tank.
How did you get it that price 6 months ago?
It
Holy
was
smokes!
so there's this place called Stuff in Oregon near me. I'm in Washington State, but I tend to travel down to like Portland area and some other stuff every month or so. And there was a place called Stuff. It's like a buy sell trade store. Has a feel of a pawn shop, but it's not a pawn shop. And they had just a bin of just old school film cameras just in a bin. It said $10 each. I'm like, okay, I'll grab it.
Boom.
And it works just fine. It's like perfect. So I've been using it.
Yeah,
I've
and
shot
so
a couple rolls.
thinking of some of the other hacks and tricks, I tried to. I couldn't track one down. I thought I had one somewhere. I do in one of the boxes of gear I have was a larger lens that has like the really open glass on both sides, like a telephoto. I don't know if it's a telephoto lens. Maybe it is, but I was thinking of something like that, and that's where I ended up trying it with the magnifying glass. It was the only thing I could get access to quickly.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing I thought it might be a cool camera to try with. I'd laugh about every time those ball light, ball glass balls,
Oh yeah, or like a
those
prism
spheres,
of some kind.
photography spheres. Yeah,
Yeah,
because of the way it takes those images, it's like maybe that would be a cool thing. I mean, whatever. I mean, yeah, there's all kinds of ideas, I'm sure.
I have a fisheye lens. I wonder if I could stick on the front of it and see what happened there.
Oh yeah, see that's. I wish that's the other thing. I guess I could tape it, but the lens is so fluid on there, like it just bounces around. It's hard to mount stuff to. I noticed that with the ring light that I tried.
You have to hold it and do some things. So going back to Brian's comment, he was saying macros is cool for body parts, vegetables, as well as toys. I would agree. And then 57 Stratman says, any thoughts on the Polaroid Photo Lab? Not that I'm into it, but lots of mixed reviews on YouTube. What do you think about it? I have mixed reviews, and I plan on doing a video, and the title of the video is how to use the Polaroid Lab creatively. Because a lot of people think it's just a cheap way, because I do have it. If you own one, everyone's going to start questioning your instant photography skills. Because you could just take a photo with your phone or a DSLR or something and then print it out on this, and everyone thinks you're just like the greatest instant photographer shooter. You know, I think art is art. As long as you make something cool and you do something cool with it, that's all that matters, you know? But I don't know if you were here in the beginning, but I was able to do exactly what the KiiPix, whatever the frick it is, method and...
It's GIF.
Yeah, and do this. This is just one try, first shot that I did with it, and it actually worked. I'm going to experiment it with it more. I think my personal thoughts on, so going back to your question, my personal thoughts on this, it has a place. It has a place. You can do some fun things with it. I was using it mainly for props, photo props. So I made a thumbnail for a documentary that I put out. It's on the channel about 6 months ago or so. And I wanted to showcase an image of somebody and intermingled with junk, if you will, just something to tell the story. So I don't have a photo of him on instant film, so I printed it off with the lab to take a thumbnail photo. So I was utilizing the format to tell a story. So it fits. I think it's great. I honestly don't use it too much. I probably will now that I figured out you can do stuff like this.
Wink. Sure you don't.
But yeah. But I did. I will show you this because I did use it Did I? No, I didn't use it for that. So never mind. That's false. I didn't use it for that. I've only ever used it like honestly a handful of times, but it definitely has a place in your creative filmmaking, photography arsenal. It definitely fits. It has a home. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a picture of the one that was sort of the situation I had with this one photo I took with my phone, and it just came out like the timing. We went bowling, and the timing of it would have been, I mean, it would have been amazing to capture something like this on an instant camera. But I'm not going to lie to anybody. I'm not going to say I took it. I mean, I don't even know if anyone's even going to care to look at this photo, other than I'm going to share it here with you, and then you can show it if you want. But yeah, so look at that. Like, that's pretty cool, the picture you just took there.
Yeah.
And we'll see if over time, if through this stream. So yeah, there's the image. And I just think it almost, in a way, like it just has a lot cooler look too. But it was like the timing. I think technically he's floating, because if you look at his toe, he's in the air. Like the timing of that instant snap, it's so cool. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he is floating.
Then, look at that, dun dun dun.
So you took that with your phone, right, and then printed it out. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was one of the only.
It's great.
And that's where I wanted to try it, and it's that thing of like. The cool thing is now it's a physical thing that if I wanted to share it, throw it in a card, mail it to, if whatever, something like that. I'm like, all right, we got some. So it lends very well to the artistic side of things.
Exactly. Sure. James Barkman asks, the Nickermat was made by Nippon. I'm not good with names. As their customers' line of cameras alongside the Nikon line. Eventually changed their name to Nikon because that's what they were known for. Oh, so... that I didn't know. So they were Nikon. Wait a minute. I just noticed this. It actually says Nikon on the back.
Oh, look at that. Oh, nice. Thanks, James. That's good info.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's a camera. Let me see what I have here. It's more of a...
Thank you for the info, by the way, there, James.
Yeah, I don't know where I have that other camera. There's some weird names on some of these older cameras, but...
oh, actually, that's what I was going to grab from this book. Where'd that go? Oh, it's right there. Let me grab that real quick. It's going back to the Polaroid lab for a second. Hang on.
And like the thing with the instant, or I guess the macro photography, it's something I've never had any experience with really, because all the cameras I've ever used, literally my whole life, outside of like a phone camera, was always that minimal range of like 3 feet or more. And I just never really even thought about it. Just, because usually I was out just taking pictures of scenery and stuff like this and cityscapes. So now it's like, wow, now we have the whole micro city of things, microcosm.
This is what I was talking about earlier. So for the Polaroid lab, I needed a photo on instant photography, aka Polaroid, and I didn't have one of them. This guy has passed away, so it's not like I could take a photo of him now. But this is Jose. So I use this photo in the thumbnail. So that's how you can use one example of using the Polaroid lab, or even the KiiPix or whatever, KiiPix, whatever the freak you call it. It's still a great way to do exactly what we're talking about as far as being able to tell a story using the format. It's not always just about taking the most epic picture, in my opinion. It's like you're telling a story regardless of it being a moving picture or a still picture. It's still a story.
In some ways, it is almost like, it reminds me of like shooting something on Super 8 film to kind of simulate an older time, even though you're filming it now. It's sort of like the reverse of that, where you're taking this digital picture and archiving it in an older style format.
In your videos.
Yeah. I'm thinking, what's that?
Oh, you had me fooled in that one video. The VHS one. When you bought that one camera. And that was so good. You even went as far as to have the camera in your hand in that shadow shot. Brilliant.
That's the movie magic. That's that crossover where I was like, oh, this is gonna. And I know there's people that was like, oh, I knew right away. And I'm like, that's cool. But there's a couple people. It's just like, why would I randomly just show the camera in a shadow if it wasn't the camera, right?
Yeah.
But
it's good.
With the macro photography stuff, I was thinking also with let's see, you were talking about taking that picture. There, I was going somewhere with it. Let me think here. I lost my train of thought.
No, you're good.
the pictures that look authentic. Oh, I just watched this random short documentary on these forgers of art, vintage art. And I was thinking with that Polaroid, like there you have that Polaroid picture taker, and even with the KiiPix, I would be curious if you had an actual photo and then a digital copy made with that, if somebody, a professional or somebody that maybe recognizes someone, could actually tell which one was actually taken with a camera and which one not. Maybe under a microscopic level, you could actually see certain things, maybe even pixels if you're really looking.
Yeah.
But I bet you probably couldn't. For the general user, probably would never see a difference.
I don't think, because even then, even if you look at a microscope, I don't think you'd be able to, because the way a camera works, it uses light, right, to capture the image. And so regardless if it's already a picture of a picture or digital, like it was taken with another camera, it's still the light being shot back at the film. I don't think you'd be able to, it'd be exactly the same thing. It's just, you'd be able to do certain things that you wouldn't be able to do with a film camera. And that's why I think where most people get annoyed with the Polaroid Lab, because they go out and try to take the best photo, and then you got photos like, here, I'll show you an example of something I faked for a shot, just to mess around. I was curious. I took a picture of my computer screen. I wanted to see if you could see the pixels of the screen on film. And so I created this with a matte across the picture as well. That's how I took the Stranger Things photo. So the picture is of I took this picture with the camera you're actually looking at with this with. I use it's my Panasonic GH5, but it's my computer screen. And then the Mind Flare, for those Stranger Things fans out there, that is a overlay mat that I put over the pack of film to take that photo. And you can't tell that this is from a computer screen. It's just like as if you would take it as film. The parts where it is a red flag is the colors of blue and the colors of like the shadows and things. You could not get this image from a Polaroid picture or from a Polaroid camera. So you can tell that it's been faked. To the actual person that like an experienced shooter, that is, they would be able to know that that's fake. Obviously, there's a Mind Flare in there, and that's, another huge flag. But this one, I did a second one. This is out my window. This is real. I took a photo with the camera, with the Mind Flare pack over it, but I threw a red filter over the lens to kind of give it the upside down feel. And I don't know why I showed you that, but I did. There it is. But going back to what you're saying, like I don't think you'd be able to tell. You couldn't, even at like microscopic levels.
And I know it's for a different video, but that little effect that you created, and I know you made your little template. The cool thing about that is you could get really detailed to where if you dial that in, you'd probably have to use up a couple snaps of film to get it dialed in, but you could probably get it so close to where your little thing that slides in is like 100% accurate, or whatever, 90%, 99% accurate, where you could even have a duplicate that you see through your viewfinder as well that lets you line it up perfectly if you wanted to get that ridiculous with it. You know what I'm saying? But that is a pretty neat effect.
It is, and I really want to experiment more with it. I want to do some Bigfoot ones and go out into the woods and shoot, Bigfoot out in the woods. I have some black and white Polaroid, and it would work so good for black and white photos, because these are black and mattes. So if you're out there shooting black and white photos with a little overlay of Bigfoot, it would look pretty real if you get it lined up just right.
And so I would be curious, and this might be something you could save for that video, because if you did a double exposure on the Polaroid, so instead of using that filter effect that you created, you take a double exposure, so you have that creature on white, or I guess what would it have to be? No, it would have to be, you couldn't do a double exposure. I was trying to get that silhouette. Oh, you're right, because I'm thinking like Photoshop, where you have like the luma key.
It doesn't work that way, because it would cast white light back down on, and it'll expose the image. I know, I thought that too.
Yeah, there's just no way to do it. Yeah, never mind.
But I'm wondering if I can do it in color as well. That's the other thing I was gonna do, and I was actually gonna try and experiment with macro, with the Polaroid macro camera, and see if I can do the overlays, but with color mixed in with the overlay. Because I tried that with, I don't have it on me handy, but I did a red filter inside the pack, and it came out red. So I was wondering, oh, if I mixed in color, I printed it in color, like the Mind Flare or something. But that would be a bad example because he's not in color. But something that has color to it. I'm wondering if I could etch that color into the image too. So
That would be worth trying, because that's where you could actually do all kinds of stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You could have overlays of like people and things that are just always in the shot.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just some stuff. I'm going to make it part of my hack week that I'm going to do coming up. I don't know when, but soon. Just 5 episodes, hack week. I got some fun stuff for that. Yeah, I can't wait. Got some fun things I got coming up. What do you have coming up? What projects you got, Dave?
Good question. Good question. Funny you would mention Bigfoot, because I'm going to be working with a crew, the Small Town Monsters crew. Those of you that follow that kind of thing probably have already heard of them before. We do a lot of documentaries. I say we because technically in this next shoot, I'm going to help with some of the filmmaking part of it. But we're going on a little shoot down in Louisiana. I've never literally been there, so I've only seen what you see in movies. But we're really going down into what would be the iconic low-hanging, like, seaweed. I say seaweed. What is it? The vines of, like, the weird stuff from the trees and the alligators and stuff down in the bayou. So we're going down there. We're going to be shooting a lot of B-roll and interviewing some people. And the name of the creature is not a Bigfoot. I'm going to say it wrong. It's like the Raru. The Roru. Have you ever heard of this?
I have not heard of a Raru.
Scary stuff, but hopefully, that'll be pretty fun. Just that experience. I'm gonna still take my Instax. I don't think I'm gonna take the macro camera. I don't. Maybe I'll just pack it. I'm probably gonna take it just because. Why not?
Yeah.
Because I think in a way,
get some swamp.
Even if I only use it. Yeah, because even if I only use it to take like actual photo copies, we could do it live, which means we could actually have photocopies laid out and shoot live action B-roll for this film that usually would be reserved for coming back into the studio, setting stuff up, but we could actually do stuff like lay them out in a log and have all kinds of cool effects.
That's the phrase I was been trying to say, where I didn't know how to describe it. Live action B-roll. That's what I've been trying to say. How to use, like the photo I showed.
That's a trademark. It's a trademark term I just invented.
Yeah, do it. Because I've been trying to figure out, like, how do you describe that? Like, because that's where the Polaroid Lab and even the KiiPix, whatever it is, can come into play too. You can print photos and use them in your storytelling. Live action B-roll. Mm-hmm. Brilliant.
I didn't even realize I said that, so that's cool. But yeah, that as far as video film projects, that'll be the next one, and those are always fun because I even have this little camera sitting here. I think I'm going to take with me. It's the Panasonic SDR S7, little handy cam style camera.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this on my Instagram and stuff, but this is probably one of the last models of cameras that they made that takes an SD card but shoots standard definition widescreen.
Really?
And this used to be packaged with a little YouTube logo on the side back when YouTube used to promote widescreen, but it was only 16:9. It wasn't HD yet. But look how little this camera is. It has a button for record on the side and on the back. But this shoots the closest to what looks like VHS without the grain. So it's not, I like the anomalies that happen with actual VHS, but look at the form factor of this thing. I mean, this thing will fit in my pocket. So I filmed some stuff with it. It's weird though. I thought I was actually going to do a whole vlog series with this, but the quality is so annoyingly bad in a good way. Like in that authentic, it's like really authentic. It's just, my eye is already adjusted too much to the clarity of like, even like streams like this, so I'll still take it because it might be kind of neat. We're actually going to be running Super 8 cameras as well for a lot of the B-roll too. So this is like a full thing. I thought it might be a mix. It might not be the best mix to mix 4K with Super 8 and also VHS. It might be too much happening, I think, but I'll take it along. It's small enough to not compared to like a big VHS camera. So these types of shoots are actually kind of fun because I'm helping out so I can experiment with a lot of stuff. And it's other subjects because usually it's just me filming toys or cameras, you know. So
I know a lot of people when I talk to them about stuff I do like outside of this, they're like, "Whoa, no way!" Like, yeah, I know it's fun to change it up every now and then. Are you going to be filming any like behind the scenes stuff?
a little bit. There's a friend of mine, Aaron. He's going to be shooting that. That's his dedicated job, to shoot photos and video behind the scenes. But I assist with that. And actually, even in the last one we just went on a couple months back, I shot with that app that you mentioned earlier, the VHS app, where it just had. I just love the way. I mean, it's on a phone, so you just film a couple seconds here and there, and you have like this cool little VHS. But yeah.
I feel like I need to be using your little mini microphone. I have it over there. I haven't used it yet. I should have hooked that up and have it just be here the whole time, me talking into it.
You know, I've seen it going around on TikTok. A lot of people using it. It makes me kind of like, oh, now it's been done, even though I did it before anyone.
Yeah, way back. It was a while ago.
It's a good sounding mic.
Are you going to be using your Instax wide while you're down there too?
Oh yeah, I'll take that with me. And I actually, somewhere around here, I'm actually curious now. Oh, I moved them. I think I packed them away so I could show them while I was there. Yeah, and that was one of the weird things. I'm sure I could probably get the director to pay me for them, but I kept the pictures because I'm like, well, it's my film. He didn't ask me to take pictures on Polaroid or instance film, but it's tricky. That honestly, in my mind, since it's not as creative. Shooting behind the scenes, I mean, it's creative, but it's not like, I don't think of it as artistic as far as like, I'm not shooting the actual main camera stuff. I'm shooting this behind the scenes look. It almost makes more sense to use a photo printer, because then I can just snap a bunch of digital images, and because it's just thinking to myself of it does start to add up for more of a commercial use.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was watching some movie or video, and I couldn't stop laughing. Someone was like, I'm an artist. I'm like, oh, what kind of films do you shoot? And they're like, oh, commercials. But that's kind of what I feel like.
Yeah. We got Not Alone says a real man shoots in 35mm Panavision.
It's true. I know.
It's true.
I know.
But that's expensive.
I've
just to shoot Super 8's expensive.
Yeah, Super 8's expensive. We got 8 rolls, I think he said. So that's a lot. That's a lot of rolls.
So that's like
more rolls I've ever seen.
That's nearly $1,000 when you're done.
So I think a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it's because we are going to be in the bayou.
You're gonna be listening to some CCR while you're down there then?
I don't even know who that is. What is that?
What? You're not gonna? Okay, I'll send you the songs. Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR, John Fogerty,
okay,
Born on the Bayou. Come on, man.
I've never heard it abbreviated like that. Yeah, I'm not. CCR? That's one thing. I am so disconnected from like music. I am only now realizing like there's all kinds of music from the 80s that I listened to all the stuff on the radio, but when you start getting into actual albums and stuff, the songs that weren't mainstream, there's so much amazing music. So I'm just now slowly catching up with all that. I'm a bit more of a Paul Simon fan myself. So
I like some Paul Simon. Yeah, he's great. He's great. Well, when do you leave for that trip? For the film trip?
It's going to be happening in a couple days. I guess Saturday. So, but yeah, the 35mm. I've never really had interest to shoot on 35. I think to me, I had a little bit of chance shooting on 16. I would like to do 16 color. But then at the same time, I look back and I'm like, I don't even know at this point. Like, I actually, when I think more about my roots or whatever, I love VHS. I love it now that it's digital. I hated it when I was doing it because there was the main thing was the red bleed through. I hated how red always overlapped and it would always bleed into other colors. Like if I had this chair here on VHS, it would be into my face. And on this side especially, you would just see it. And when you'd make a copy of you'd make a copy of the original, it was done. By the third copy, it looked like garbage. But now that you can film it in VHS and digitize it, now it's locked in. I have to do something on VHS. I need to do, and just for the fun of saying, I would be awesome if I still used my original camera to do it, just to say 25 years later, here we go.
Right.
All in.
That'd be
probably
cool.
A lot more work than it's worth. I guess I need a story first.
I've done multiple videos on VHS, different things, and with modern technology, it's really easy now to get it onto your computer and do it, and it's not even expensive. I have capture cards for it; they're pretty cheap, and just shoot away and capture it on back onto the computer. It's pretty easy.
And this is something more recent. I just saw the batteries for those old cameras, because this one's like a big brick.
Yes.
And I don't know the actual name for it, but I guess it works very similar to a car battery, which means you put distilled water in it and you can recharge those cells and it becomes usable again. So I'm going to experiment with that and hopefully don't blow up. But that would be interesting, just to shoot it legit with like actual authentic batteries as well. So it's literally the camera rolling. It's amazing to see when you really, for people that are younger, and I show my nephews the way the mechanism works when you put a VHS in and close it and like everything's moving. It's like, this was so amazing that this even worked.
Right. We've got someone from Brazil saying hello.
Hello. Thanks for joining in.
That's pretty awesome. So yeah, I don't know if you caught me in my VHS stuff, but I was able to power them off of a OmniCharge battery. I don't know if you know what OmniCharge is, but they're a power bank. They're really overpriced power banks, I'll tell you. But they have 120 outlet on it. You can plug in, charge your laptop and stuff. And so you can just plug in your camera to the charge, like the power AC, and you can plug it right into the power bank, and it's like 13 times more duration than it would have been on the original battery. But you have to have this huge cable, so you have to wear a backpack practically to throw out all the cables.
That's the thing, yeah.
And then you're walking around with the camera, or in certain ones they can kind of like rig it all up to all handheld, which I've done. But the OmniCharge, if you can get one for fairly cheapish, they're kind of expensive for what it is, but you can power some old tech off of it.
And you know what, like I play through these ideas in my mind, but then I think the reality of when I was younger, the difference was one major thing, which was I was a kid with neighbors and relatives, my brothers and sisters, that were my built-in actors. And so when I start actually planning out in real life something, I'm like, wait a second, what am I doing here? I'm actually going to be hiring people to come in. I mean, that's where I feel like I need to have a story that I'm completely sold on for me to go into it. Until then, it's just all talk, like, because I'm like, I love the idea of it, but the reality is I don't have access to just free talent here that I can just be like, hey, can you stand here and say this line? I'm going to film it. No, it needs to be done like legit. So I'd probably end up shooting it with 2 different cameras just because that's how I am. A good one and a VHS.
I know how it is. I have my friends I'm like, hey, just stand here real quick. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I got to take your photo like 4 times with 3 different cameras. I'm doing a review. So when you ever see my friends in there, it's kind of like I just force them to be in my projects. But Jackson Peters is in the house. He says the whole circuit ending / VHS final pass of a conventionally shot digital project is something I've really wanted to implement in a creative project. It's a cool quality. I would agree. I mean, I think VHS still has a role to play. It's just getting it upscaled in the correct way to where it's not just total crap.
Yeah. And I'm curious, Jackson Peters, like, I'm pretty sure he's an old school YouTuber that I used to see online. He posted filmmaking tutorials. If it's the same one, it's been a few years, so he's probably gotten into some other things. But obviously, if he's talking about doing a video project on VHS, then
his picture is I don't know if you know what his picture would look like, but it's him in a raincoat. It looks like it's writing on a piece of paper. That helps.
He's drawing a map of the world. He's been going on adventures. But if it's the same, Jackson, hope everything's going good, man. Yeah, because I'm actually curious, Jackson, if it is like your old YouTube channel. I think everybody since the old days have switched their YouTube channel names to their actual names, so some of that crossed over. So it's hard to track down the old timers. I say old timers, it was probably maybe just a few years back, but to me it seems like a long time ago. A lot has changed on YouTube since then.
Yeah, you've been around for a long time. When did you start your YouTube channel?
1982. No, it was right at the beginning. 2000, I guess not the very beginning. 2011 is when I started uploading like filmmaking specific. Everything before then was just experimental stuff, just trying to figure out like, what is this YouTube video? You could just upload videos. This is weird. And it was just mostly copyrighted music videos and stuff that they're not online anymore because I had to get rid of all of them to be able to turn on that monetization back in the old days.
Yeah.
But
so I must
2011.
Yeah, I must have found you right around then. Because I thought it was like 2010 was when I found you, but it had to have been around 2011 then.
Yeah, and it's hard to think back exactly because it was all still for fun. And then as the years went on, I was like, oh, always in hindsight, I'm like, oh, why didn't I should have just went all in. But I think the reality was I had bills to pay. And
Yeah.
when you got bill collectors calling every week or sending you letters in the mail, it's like, okay, I'm not going to figure this YouTube thing out.
Yeah,
I
job.
want to do creative projects and have fun.
I know. Like I do YouTube full time, just for other people mainly, and then I make my own content when I can because a lot of people know, not everyone I guess, but I do. I don't do a lot of freelance work, but I work closely with another company called Livestream Pros, and we build like production studios for clients and a lot of educational things online, webinars and course trainings and stuff, and then like plus their YouTube stuff. So I do YouTube full time, just not technically for myself. So I know what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah, you've been around a while, and I know you got a lot of stuff that you're involved with, like off camera, where it's like until you actually start chatting with you start to realize how much connection. You're 6 degrees of separation from pretty much every YouTuber.
Yeah, I have a couple big ones. Like people usually ask me if I have connections to like Mr. Beast, which I almost did, but not anymore. But Peter McKinnon, I have somewhat of a connection to him. Maddie Apoya, those guys. But it's not like I don't work with them. I mean, I've helped them in the past. I've worked with them, but I don't I don't continually work with them. So it's not like a cool thing. I can be like, yeah, I hang out with top YouTubers and things. But I help them every now and then. The latest one would have been Peter Hollins. I built his little studio. If you don't know who he is, he's really, really cool guy. He actually is kind of close to me, so it wasn't even like a bad like travel thing. He's like a couple hours from me. I built his little thing. He's a acapella singer on YouTube. He's got a few subscribers. Let's say that. He's a really nice guy though.
And that's the unique thing I know, especially I think Not Alone, you had his comment up there on the screen for a second, but I think, like the old days of 2011
it was
completely different. But in some ways, it's actually kind of cool because there's so many popular YouTubers now. At least from my perspective, it's like now we actually see who's really dedicated to this stuff because you kind of have to be invested for a while because if you have one or two videos about it, they'll get a lot of views, but you're not really going to amass a huge following because there's just so many other resources to go for dedicated video series, and that's something you and I have talked about with. I try to incorporate as much art that I'm interested in my channel just to make sure that if one takes off a little bit more, I can still have access to other ones that my viewers might still be willing to sit through if they want to. But I'm not trying to go completely off and do something completely unrelated to video or photography.
Yeah.
For that reason, so I can have a little bit longer investment with the community.
Right. So now that you've done one instant photography video, are you going to do any more?
Yes, because there's the secret project, and I want to try that. Oh man, and I'm so bummed because I would have already tried it, but I have to go on this trip, so whatever. Now I got
your day job. I know how it goes.
Got a plan. But
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what you whip up. You always whip up something pretty awesome. One of the videos, it must have been last year. Probably my favorite video you did last year was on that 100-year-old microphone thing. That thing was really cool. I like that video.
I'm so glad that finally got out because I had that mic for so long, and I found it at an antique store, and I'm like, I got to do a video on this. And I remember when I bought it, I literally was like, I'm walking home. I'm going to make the video right now. And then I got home and all this stuff happened. And I had to go somewhere and then it was like this, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow came and went. And then it was like 2 years later. So,
it was good.
That one was definitely, there was those little ones. And especially because I feel like those videos, once they're out there, at least to me, they're interesting years from now where it's still just, since it's such old piece of technology, someone might eventually be interested in it if they see it out there.
Yeah. So I talked about this earlier, but I never got back to it. Your finger pointer. Where'd that come from? Where'd you get that? It's been a staple of your channel for ever.
Ironically enough, this is how this works too. I follow, and this would be funny, you probably might even know this. I watch a lot of YouTube as well. Well, there was a channel called Sylvia's Little Super Show or something like this, and it was a science show. And it was a young girl, and she would do these cool science experiments. And I think she's worked with a lot of bigger science YouTubers as she's gotten older. I don't know if she still does the series, but she had this pointer in one of her videos. I'm like, that is the coolest thing. And of course, it was like a little kid's production. And so the pointer coming in just added to it. And I'm like, that for some reason, it reminded me of the old, like, Saturday morning cartoon style shows and stuff. And then her show ended, and I'm like, well, I'm not really like taking her idea. She doesn't do it anymore as far as I know. And it's just a pointer. Right. I don't really use it that often. It actually worked out too, because sometimes it is kind of annoying to try to point stuff out. And I'm like, oh, this will actually be perfect to just point to stuff that I don't feel like I have to try to get my fat sausage fingers in there, you know? So this is a little bit more consistent. There are different kinds. Not all pointer fingers are the same, though. That's one thing to keep in mind. If you look, the ones at the Dollar Tree are not the same. They have big, weird cartoon fingers.
Well, so you got it at the dollar store?
No, but there are some that they're there every once in a while. So they actually had one that you could. I've seen it at a teaching store that you could retract. This thing could be like 4 feet long.
That's what I'm talking about. So where'd you pick that one up? At?
Oh, what's that?
Where'd you pick that one up at?
I don't know. No, it was some local teaching store, but they're online, and that's the thing. I think it's funny because some people do make comments about it. I'm like, that's what I always had a struggle with. I've never had any sort of like repeated things. I guess I have that old little dinosaur that shows up every once in a while.
A dinosaur, yeah.
But the funny thing is about this, like, this is where it's just funny how this works. At one point, I lost this for like 6 months, could not find it. So I tracked another one down and bought it, and didn't tape up the handle. The handle's originally white. And so in my mind, though, I'm thinking, I'm sort of sentimental. I need to find the original one. I'm like trying to rack my brain. I was like, how did I even get to the point where I lost something that literally is the only thing in my videos that I have sentimental connection to? And I just like misplaced it. But it's that reality of just life happens while you're making other plans. So.
Yeah. No, not alone was saying, glad you brought up the pointer. Yeah, I've always wondered about it.
Yeah, I need to use it more. And it's funny because I'll shoot a video and I'm like, oh, I don't have any B-roll with this pointer finger. I think I had it just for a moment in that last video I just uploaded. So
I think it's there. It was in there for just a second.
You gotta look for it.
Awesome, man. I know you said you had something to go do tonight or something, right? So we'll wrap this up. But I just thought of this as we were talking. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to start taking pictures of my guests. So we're not here, but I'm going to see about trying to take a photo of the screen. And then that way I have like a guest board, you know what I'm saying? So
all right, I'm ready. I don't know how to get ready for this.
So get ready for the photo. Yeah, use the pointer. All right, I have to go walk over to the monitor, so I won't be able to hear you for like 10 seconds. I'll shout it out. You'll be able to hear me. All right. Here we go. All right, get your pose ready. Boom.
There's that sound. There's that sound, that classic sound.
So, for all y'all wondering, I took it on a converted, as I put my microphone back on, I took it on a converted SX70 sonar that shoots 600 film. Fancy. I know. But more on that later. Thank you, Dave, so much for coming on. This was awesome. Oh, looks like we have a couple comments, actually, before we wrap up. Jackson Peters says, yeah, you got me. That's him. Yeah, it's the same Jackson. Been to film school and back since the PVC filmmaking days. Currently work/travel full time for another YouTube channel these days. And then he writes,
we all
writes, definitely missed that DIY aspect of the indie scene. I know, I do too. With the cheap gear and services like ShareGrid is in certain cities. ShareGrid, I don't even know what that is. Seems a lot more practical to solve problems the right way and rent out. Oh, ShareGrid. Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing videos of people talking about like they're like renting out their Red cameras or renting out like they're just equipment that they have laying around. It was like Uber, and they would literally deliver gear to you. I never knew that went away. I guess it did.
Wow, that is a neat service, and that's cool, Jackson. Like to see him, and I know there's a few YouTubers that I'll try to keep track of, just because there's just like anything, even the kids. I say kids, but like people I went to school with in college. I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh for 2 years, and I only, out of all the people I graduated with, I don't know any of them that are still doing video production or filmmaking or anything. And it's like, wow. So carrying that over into YouTube world, obviously things change, interests change as you grow up. You have different, things that actually start to earn you money. You have to kind of focus a little bit on if you're trying to pay rent. Hey, Brant, awesome. Good to see you, man.
On top of
But yeah. So
I never got to go to film school. I really wanted to. I had a scholarship for a college, but my parents were like, "What are you gonna do with a film degree?" So they wouldn't let me go. But now look at me.
And honestly, but honestly, like when I think about it, I think of like people that talk about Harvard when they become lawyers and stuff. It's usually the networking with the people you meet while you're there is really more of, outside of the basic education you need for your diplomas and documentation, those connections. And I made connections like that, except it's with people that no longer are in the industry.
Yeah.
And the ones that are, I don't keep in contact with, so I lost it. But you at least have a lot of that connection right now. So you kind of did it a different way, but you have so many connections now, and you're in the world of filmmaking, video production, media creation.
Yeah.
You saved a lot of money.
It's one of those things where, like, yeah, I do, but I don't at the same time. It's kind of hard to explain. But it's not like I can just call up Peter McKinnon and be like, "Yo, let's go shoot something." But I could. But what?
The interesting thing is, you would have never met him at a film school, because I don't know if he went to film school.
He did not, as far as I know. I only know if he finished high school, to be honest. I think he said something about that.
YouTube introduced the whole world of like a whole different way of interacting with other creative people, and it's like now you don't really need all that education. It's definitely fun. I think that's where it was really fun with, I never went to any of the meetups and the VidCon and all that, but those meetups are the closest thing to it. Those few days you get to spend with people are like those memories you have, sort of like what you would have if you went to college and had like, because that was one thing we did have. I remember this was early days, late 90s, early 2000s. We just sat around, had nothing to do. Nobody had smartphones. They weren't on their phone all the time. So we were like, let's just make a quick little skit. And so we were all sitting around with a bunch of filmmaking students. And so we were able to shoot some little skits. Now, in hindsight, looking at some of those old videos, I guess would be very cringy. But they were we were just kind of emulating and copying things we were watching in movies and TV at the time. So it wasn't much different than what younger people are doing nowadays. But for us, it was cool because it was a whole weekend. You would spend Friday night shooting everything, and then Saturday you would spend editing it, and then you'd watch it on Sunday, and it'd be your little weekend thing to do with your friends. So that kind of stuff was kind of fun. I think that's how, I can't think of Rocket Jump. Those guys, isn't that how they started back in college?
Yeah.
Back in the, whatever the other channel was.
It's funny you bring them up, because when I was wanting to do film school and I couldn't go, I went to YouTube and started watching and learning, because I knew one day I'm going to be able to start making my own videos and stuff. And so I would watch Freddie Wong, so from Rocket Jump. So back then it was Freddie W. And he had a dorm roommates, Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were like in the same dorm or something like that. And so that's how they started. And then in those years, I found a few other channels that I would watch and learn from: Indie Mogul, Film Riot, and then your channel. So you guys were like in the mix, like watching and making cool stuff. I'm like, one day it's gonna come in handy.
There it is, and that's where it's fun. Everyone takes different paths, and it's like, I think the biggest thing is, I don't even know. It doesn't even matter what I think. But I wasn't super excited that I spent as much money as I did for school years later, when I was still paying for it. And I was like, man, I don't have any connections with the friends I had. I'm not making any creative projects. I'm still 100% on my own in that sense of that. And so when YouTube started up, I was like, oh my goodness, this is, even if it was just a creative outlet, not necessarily, I didn't even think of it really as a money making thing. I thought, I finally have an audience that I could upload my old videos to. That's what my original thought was. I'll upload old videos and have an audience like a movie theater on the internet.
That's how I saw it, only up until a couple of years ago, actually. I'd make videos just because I wanted to share and make something cool. I didn't start really focusing on, like, hey, maybe I can make money out of this until a couple of years ago.
And it is really neat, like, thinking of, like, the KiiPix and stuff, where now to have an audience, or at least even I say audience, but even like an area to upload, and then you can get outside input on this. I think that's what's amazing. And even though you and I sort of know each other already, being able to see what you've done with the stuff with this camera, and then just thinking, like, if it was just my idea sitting in my house in Ohio, and I didn't have access to basically the World Wide Web or the whole world. It's like, that would be very limiting creatively, where it's just me and the 3 friends that really don't care about this. And I'm trying to convince them, no, try it. You just use it. Here, use it. Instead, it's like, oh, at least I can make a video about it on YouTube, and if a couple people enjoy it and want to do stuff, then we're all good.
Yeah, make me spend money and start being more creative. And yeah, it's great. I love it. Well, man, I should probably let you go. And every time I say that, we got awesome comments coming in. We'll get you out of here very shortly. Brant Moore says, I graduated as an outstanding senior in my class in cinematic arts from the Columbia's College of Art and Design, and have serious regrets about going all these years later. I know most people I meet, they say that, like, oh, film school, it was a waste of time.
Yeah, it's different. YouTube threw a huge wrench into everything we ever knew. And Brant, I know him. He's a buddy, a fellow YouTuber that is relatively local. He does BMXing and stuff on his channel, and makes some little documentaries and stuff. And it is interesting because, yeah, YouTube, I just keep thinking that's why I still enjoy YouTube, because, yeah, it's changed a lot, but the ability to have an audience is still so amazing to me. It doesn't, it's different. TikTok offers different things. Instagram offers different things. YouTube has a searchable database of creative projects that I still think is super, super cool that it's available, especially for free.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Like, the stuff that you can learn on YouTube, like, you go spend tens of thousands of dollars at a college. This is up online for free. We've got a comment from Jackson. It says, super happy with the network I was able to build, but there's so many outlets for that sort of collaboration now without the massive expense. So true.
Yeah.
It is so true.
And it's true. And that's something else too. That's the main thing, like that networking. And I think that is just, especially in this kind of a field with, like, I say, filmmaking or even photography, even, it's like when you're on your own completely in a bubble, it's hard to know if what you're doing is, like, I don't know, not that you need people to compare to. It's just nice to hear an outside opinion or an outside thought in a constructive way that can help you grow creatively, and know that maybe the stuff you're doing is super amazing. You just never knew it, right? That's cool. That's always motivating, right?
No, I totally agree with that.
It's super cool. And it's good. I was like, I'm looking over here because I'm also watching some of the chat before you actually bring it up, just so I can get a little preview. But it's cool to see some of the guys, Jackson, Not Alone, and Brant.
Yeah.
Some of the guys that I know.
Yeah, normally when I'm doing these, I get to comments really fast. But in more of these interview style stuff, we tend to, we get to them when we have breaks and stuff, keep the conversation flowing. I tend to do a lot more Q&A stuff during my live streams, which I'm starting to do weekly live streams. So if you guys are interested, consider checking out the next stream. I haven't picked a day yet when I do it, but typically we have rapid fire questions and answers and stuff in the show. So if you're interested in that, consider subscribing. And I need to pick a day, just a day and stream. That day every week. I had another brand that I would do that on when I owned my business, and it got to the point where if I was a minute late, man, on that day, people would be freaking out.
That's
because they're there and they're waiting. They're there and they're waiting. So yeah, I need to get back at that.
And those of you just tuning in, we talked about a little bit earlier, but yeah, Chris has some really cool videos with the VHS stuff and some retro cameras, some other stuff besides just this instant photography stuff that I know that it's worth checking out if you're just hanging out on YouTube, want to check out some of those little older things. I think it's cool that you took the time to figure out that battery situation, because it is that thing where it's like you could use your phone and do a quick little filter and simulate it, but
now
you took it out. really
I
stuff.
I have a plan to do a VHS live stream, so stream with a VHS camera. I've already tested it and done it and it worked perfectly. I just haven't
Oh, did
done.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I've already done it. I have a private practice page I was telling you about. I test a lot of live streams on there, and so I did it, and it was working perfectly, and it worked. It looks super good on Facebook because it's just the right format. A 4:3 ratio, like on scrolling through Facebook, is like it's perfect. And so I wanted to do a special stream where it's like maybe I'm just doing a review on a retro tech and like find some like retro clothes and stuff and just stream as if it was YouTube in the 80s, you know, like. But so that's still coming.
I did a digital version of some of that on my channel with some live streams, and I kind of like it because it's lo-fi, but I got a lot of technical issues just because I'm running everything off a 2012 MacBook, so slows down a little bit when you're running all those filters.
Yeah, definitely. I can help you with that. I will get you hooked up with something better. Well, at least some software that you can use with the computer you got. Because for you guys that don't know, like I was saying earlier, live streaming is a big part of what I do on the day job. So I know a bunch.
Well, yeah, dude, this is a legit setup. That's why I was excited when you invited me on to chat with you a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna have on-screen comments. I got this cool little bordered edge. This is streamlined, man. Streamlined live stream.
Brand says you should visit each other and work on something together.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I know you and I have talked a little bit about that because you might be heading east a little bit. So if something works out.
Yeah, no,
that'd be cool.
I'm working on a documentary myself, and it's on for all you guys that. I mean, it looks like we have some of your viewers in here that don't know about it, so I guess I'll reiterate it. But I'm working on a documentary on people's collecting habits, like why people collect, why do you have all this junk laying around, you know? And so there's some people out in your area, in Ohio, that are interested in being in the project. So I'm trying to work that out to get me out there. I already did the first part of the filming in January, and so I'm going to be traveling traveling in the country, around the country this year. That's the plan. It's really dependent upon funds. The old money situation. So, because I'm funding it myself, mostly. People that join for Patreon members, that definitely goes towards that as well. But yeah, it'd be really cool to make something.
I'm curious,
project.
With that instant photo that we took with the camera, how does it look? What's the final? Has it finally processed 100%? Is that what the final one's going to look like?
Probably.
Yeah. See, a lot
close,
of there's a little bit of lines.
Yeah. A little bit right there. I don't know, I'd give it another hour. I'll send you a picture of it later tonight and see how it came out. And the screen picture of you, it's a little distorted. Didn't quite work out like I hoped.
It captured me perfectly then.
It's still developing. Polaroids take forever. I wish I was able to take it more straight on. But the way I have my studio set up, I can only shoot at an angle from that point of view. But yeah.
Very cool, man.
All right. Well,
Alrighty.
I think that's a good place to wrap it up, shall we, huh? Where can we find you?
If you go to this name right here, where's my name? Right there. Right there. Yeah, Knoptop. Yeah, Knoptop YouTube channel. And if you search, well, actually, even if you just search the KiiPix, you'll see the latest video I uploaded. The KiiPix camera, macro photography. If you haven't seen that yet, I think it's a fun little video. Obviously, it's a lot of what we already talked about, but you can see some more photos and hear me talk even more.
It was a great video, man. Like, it was a little bit different than what you normally do, I think, and it was awesome. Not that your other stuff isn't good, because it is. It's just I like this particular style.
And it was a good experience, and I think I mentioned that to you over text. Like, I had no idea, because I watch a lot of photography channels, and I always critique it, like, oh, they don't show the photos long enough. But when I was scanning in these images, I realized it takes a lot of time to get every photo scanned in, because you're trying, for me, I like to animate a little bit. I ended up scratching all that, because I was like, this is taking too long already. I'm just going to get but you do need to have a consistent layout, because I wanted to have my cropping be easier. So in order to do that, you need to have all your photos that you import to be exactly the same on the screen. Otherwise, you're going into Photoshop and doing new settings every time. And so, yeah, just getting those videos or getting those photos onto video, I had no idea. So, yeah, that was a fun little change of pace for me as well. So I think that's what set me into doing it a little differently. Because I was like, wow, this is not what I expect. I don't know what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be super easy.
Dude, it takes so much time to scan in Polaroid pictures and stuff. It's brutal. It takes it's time. I did a video on the channel already about how I do it, and it's fast. But if you're doing 20 pictures, it gets really annoying.
I did 20 pictures, and then it wasn't until I got it into Photoshop that I saw that every single one you could see the camera in the reflection. It had, from my view, looking at it, I'm like, oh, this looks perfect, but it was the angle from the camera was perfectly reflecting because they're high gloss, and that's something, I guess it's just the way that things work. But if there's ever a day that Instax Minis or any Instax makes a matte finish, I don't think they ever will, though. Will they? Have they?
No, I doubt it. I doubt it.
And so that might be something. Maybe that's something I'll experiment with one of my messed up ones, etching it with like some really fine grit, like a Brillo pad, and to try to get a matte finish.
I never thought of that. Maybe even like a matte clear spray paint. Just a little spritz.
Maybe that's probably more consistent if it doesn't mess the plastic up. Because that would be the only other thing. Is like if I can get these to where it's non-reflective. Now there we go. We're adding to you can add that to your hacks if it works.
I know, guys.
That'd be
it's too many.
Cool.
It's too many.
I've never seen anyone talk about it, making it matte finish.
Yeah, because even Polaroids, they are glossy.
Yeah.
All of them.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for having me. It's really cool.
Yeah,
chat.
thank you.
Hopefully everyone that joined the live stream enjoyed it as well. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Yeah, go subscribe to his channel. There's a link in the description to his channel as well as to the video about the KiiPix, if that's how we say it. It's good. Go check it out. It's fun to experiment. Worst case, you have a phone scanner, I guess. Thank you so much, Jay, for coming on. I will probably chat with you a little bit later, man. See you, buddy.
All right, thanks. Go make something.
Right? Go make something. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching the stream. The first guest, well, it's not necessarily true. I did a 12-hour stream last year. Yeah, last year, a 12-hour stream with a ton of guests on. But this is the first guest appearance on the channel this year. So thank you to David once again for joining in. This was a lot of fun. Love hanging out with you guys. And you guys, if you want to see more videos like this, mainly in live stream format, consider subscribing. If you want to see more videos related to instant photography, Polaroids, and other things, there are more on the channel if you want to click down below, as well as VHS stuff, as Dave and I were talking about. I have done a bunch of those already as well. So you guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to support the show and support the documentaries and projects I've got coming up, maybe consider becoming a Patreon member. There it is right there. There's also memberships here on YouTube you can do as well. But for Patreon members, I wish I could do it on YouTube. I don't know if there's a way to do it. But on Patreon members, I'm going to start incorporating photos, not necessarily, well, maybe actual physical like Polaroids, but I'm also thinking about doing normal photography photos and then signed limited editions and maybe some one-off, one-of-a-kind photos as well. Physical items coming your way. What do you think? It's pretty cool. So if you want to consider checking that out, there's a link in the description as well. So that's all I got for you today. Be sure to check back for more fun videos and live streams and all that jazz. So thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Now get out there, make some art. And now I will fade to black. Bye.